Todd Chrisley is worried about Julie Chrisley's health after receiving devastating news. His attorney spoke on behalf of Todd. Julie's family is also worried about her. The two are currently in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. They are both serving time for their crime. Keep reading to find out more about this. Julie Chrisley and her resentencing hearing. Julie Chrisley was granted a resentencing hearing. The court did not feel as though they had gathered enough evidence to sentence her. However, a lot happened during this hearing. Julie requested to attend the hearing over Zoom, so she did not have to travel that far. That request was denied along with the requests to wear street clothes during court and a 24-hour furlough. Julie was ultimately sentenced to the same 84 months that she originally received. This was heartbreaking for her children and family. Todd Chrisley is worried for his wife. Todd Chrisley is now worried for his wife. After she received the devastating news that she would not get her sentence shortened, he spoke out about and said he was concerned about Julie's health and welfare. They did not go into detail about the worries for her health. However, earlier this year, Savannah revealed that her mother may have a tumor. I walked in thinking it was gynecology. I sat down with the doctor and she proceeds to tell me that my HCG level was high, 10.2. This is a pregnancy hormone. It should not be that high. If it were a little higher, I would test positive on a pregnancy test. Since that's not a possibility, it could be a sign of a tumor. This could be what Todd was talking about. However, it is unknown if something more happened that others are unaware of. Regardless, Savannah has made it a point that she is going to keep trying to get her mother's freedom. It seems that Julie may have a tumor or something else wrong with her. This is scary for someone to go through in general, let alone in prison. So, after hearing that Julie will not be released any earlier, Todd is concerned for his wife. Some people do believe this was all Todd's doing and Julie had no idea what she was signing. What do you think about her health issues? Do you think she should have gotten out of prison earlier? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Todd Chrisley sat in the dimly lit visitor's room, his mind swirling with thoughts of his family, especially Julie. The hum of the fluorescent lights above barely registered as he clasped his hands together, leaning forward, his elbows resting on the cold metal table. The walls of the room felt like they were closing in, suffocating him with their oppressive, unyielding presence. It was hard to believe that this was now his reality, stuck behind bars, separated from the people he loved most. But today, something far more terrifying loomed over him, Julie's health. He had received the news just a few days ago. His daughter, Savannah, had been the one to break it to him. Her voice had wavered over the phone, betraying the calm front she tried to put up. "Dad, it's Mom, she hasn't been feeling well." Todd had felt his stomach drop at the words. Though he and Julie had always been strong, supportive of each other through the years, the stress of their trials and their subsequent imprisonment had taken its toll. They had both put on brave faces, especially for the sake of their children, but the reality was that prison life had broken parts of them they never imagined could be broken. "What's wrong?" Todd had asked, trying to keep the panic out of his voice. Savannah had hesitated before answering. "The doctors are still running tests, but they're worried. Her energy levels are low." Now, as he sat in the visitor's room, waiting to hear more, his mind raced with worst-case scenarios. What if it was something serious? What if the stress of their situation had finally caught up to Julie in a way they couldn't fix? What if he lost her? The door creaked open, and Todd's heart skipped a beat as Savannah entered. She looked tired, her usually bright eyes dimmed by worry and exhaustion. She had been shouldering so much responsibility since both he and Julie had been incarcerated, taking care of her younger siblings, running the family's affairs, and now dealing with her mother's health scare. "Savannah," Todd greeted, his voice rough with emotion. He stood, pulling her into a tight hug. "Tell me everything." Savannah sat down across from him, her face serious. "Dad, Mom's tests came back, and they're saying it might be more than just stress. They found some irregularities with her heart. The doctors are recommending more tests and possibly surgery. Todd's heart sank. He clenched his fists under the table, trying to keep his emotions in check. He needed to stay strong, for Savannah, for Julie, for all of them. Is she okay now? Is she getting the treatment she needs? Savannah nodded, but her face remained strained. She's being monitored closely, but the doctors are concerned. They said it's important to address it sooner rather than later, but with her being in prison, it complicates everything. The unfairness of it all hit Todd like a tidal wave. Here they were, facing the consequences of their past mistakes, but now the punishment felt even more severe. Julie had always been the heart of their family, the glue that held them all together through the good times and the bad. She didn't deserve to go through something like this without her family by her side. I feel so helpless, Todd admitted, his voice cracking. I should be there with her, taking care of her, but I'm stuck here. His eyes glistened with unshed tears as he slammed his fist on the table, frustration coursing through him. She's everything to me, Savannah. I can't lose her. Savannah reached across the table, placing her hand over his. Dad, we're doing everything we can. The lawyers are pushing to get her the best medical care, and the family's rallying around her. But I need you to stay strong too. We all do. Todd took a deep breath, nodding as he tried to pull himself together. Savannah was right. As much as he wanted to be there, he couldn't let his fear paralyze him. Julie needed him to stay calm and focused. Their children needed him to be strong, even from afar. Have you spoken to the boys? Todd asked, his thoughts shifting to Chase and Grayson. He knew they were just as worried, but dealing with things in their own ways. Chase had always been the type to put on a brave face, hiding his emotions behind humor, while Grayson tended to internalize everything, quietly bearing the weight of the family's troubles. They're struggling, Savannah admitted. But they're hanging in there. We're all just trying to keep things as normal as possible for Chloe and Grayson, especially. Todd's chest tightened at the mention of Chloe. His granddaughter had been through so much already in her young life. The thought of her having to deal with the possibility of losing Julie broke his heart. Tell them I love them, Todd said softly. And that I'm sorry I'm not there. Savannah nodded, her eyes filling with tears. They know, Dad. We all know. For a moment, they sat in silence, the weight of the situation pressing down on them both.